Hey duelists, it is I, Hellgear, and I'm bringing to you guys my Crystal Beast deck profile. Managed to get as many of the cards as I feel comfortable with showing off, and do enjoy this deck. So, let me have your critiques in the comment section below. Also, let me know what you think of these sweet, sweet sleeves for this Crystal Beast deck in the comment section below. I've had these sleeves for 5 years and they're still good. I will not put any other deck in these sleeves. Let's count the cards. So, little bit of housekeeping for all of those who are wondering. The Crystal Beasts have a couple of effects. The one that they share is that when they are destroyed, you can place them in your back row instead of sending them to the graveyard as a face-up continuous spell. And in addition to that, my goodness, that one's almost off the camera, right? And in addition to that, they have their own unique abilities. Now, I run 2 copies of each. The reason I run 2 copies of each is I prefer having the balanced setup instead of having to sacrifice this balance for consistency. So, Sapphire Pegasus, when it's summoned, will add another crystal from your deck and place it in your back row as a face-up continuous spell. This is one of the better cards of the better Crystal Beasts. Topaz Tiger, when it attacks, it goes from 1600 to 2000 during the damage step. Ruby Carbuncle, when special summoned, he special summons as many Crystal Beasts in the back row as possible. Amber Mammoth here is the bodyguard. You have to destroy him before you destroy any other Crystal Beast, including the new Rainbow Dragon, the Zenith Crystal Beast. Cobalt Eagle is kind of an odd sell because it bounces a Crystal Beast you control to the top of your deck. And there's a specific extra monster card I play which uses those guys. Emerald Tortoise is our defender. When a Crystal Beast attacks, it can switch 1 to defense position, and at two racks in the back, it can block a decent number of low level and low rank monsters. And then we have Amethyst Cat, who can bypass your opponent's monsters and attack directly, but in doing so actually gets an attack cut in half. There are ways I've learned how to use each of the Crystal Beasts, the level 3s and the level 4s, and I'll talk more about that as I go on. So, contrary to what some people might think, I do actually run the Crystal Pendulums. Let me zoom in a little bit more for you guys. Jeez. Okay, so, the Crystal Pendulums, Keeper and Master, are protection for your Crystal Beasts. Now, the Crystal Keeper's Pendulum effect makes it so that the first time a Crystal Beast or an Ultimate Crystal Monster would battle, it would not be destroyed by that battle. And then its monster effect works like an Honest. You can either tribute it from your hand, or you can tribute it from the field or pitch it from your hand as a quick effect to double the attack of an attacking Crystal Beast monster, but at the end of the damage step, said Crystal Beast is destroyed, which, again, back row. Crystal Master protects your Crystal Beasts and Ultimate Crystal Monsters from card effects as a pendulum effect, and its monster effect, when it's on the field, you contribute it to add an Ultimate Crystal Monster, a Crystal Beast monster, or a Crystal Spell and Trap from your deck to your hand. Not a lot of people play the Crystal Pendulums, but as we get the new Rainbow Dragon, this is something I found out. If these guys are set up in the Pendulum Zone and you have the new Rainbow Dragon, the Zenith Crystal Beast, you can actually block Borrelsword OTK. And there aren't too many decks that can actually block Borrelsword OTK. So, something to consider as we go into the side, the future builds. I'm one of the 0.5% of the people who run Rainbow Dark Dragon. I actually got this card before I got the original Rainbow Dragon. I had to wait till I got the 10s to get this. So essentially, to special summon it, you need 7 dark monsters in your graveyard to banish. Then you can banish all other dark monsters from your field or graveyard to give this 500 attack for each one. The banishing of the dark monsters is a rough sell for a lot of Crystal duelists, but there are ways you can actually play this. Speaking of the original Crystal, or the original Rainbow Dragon, I do run 2 of it. So, essentially, you need 1 of each Crystal Beast, so the 7 Crystal Beasts, to special summon this card. Then it has 2 effects. I believe you can't activate these the same turn it's special summon. Yeah. So you can send all the Crystal Beast monsters you control to the grave and boost this dragon up by 1,000 points for each one. Or you can banish all the Crystal Beast monsters in your graveyard and reset the field. These are both, I want to say these are quick effects, but I could be wrong. I think the updated text made these quick effects. Yes, the updated text did make these quick effects. Keep in mind that these guys are, thanks to the errata and update, they are considered ultimate crystal monsters. Just like the fusion Rainbow Overdragon. One last monster in this deck, and this is my real dark horse monster of the deck. When I summon this thing, my opponents never see this coming, and it is the Sin Rainbow Dragon. Sin Rainbow Dragon, or Malefic Rainbow Dragon as we call it in English, has a couple caveats. To those of you who don't know about the Malefics, 1, a field spell has to be active while you summon this. If there's no field spell, this guy is automatically destroyed. It's also the only monster on your board that can attack. Now, the special summoning cost of it, because it's a corrupted Rainbow Dragon, is you have to banish this guy to special summon this one. And you can banish the original Rainbow Dragon either from your hand, or more importantly, you can banish it from your deck to pull this out. And while there are ways that decks can deal with this, seeing this out is a real shock to many players. Spell game. So I kind of swing a little from the norm of the Crystal Beast when it comes to field spells. I actually run 2 Advanced Dark in my deck. Don't worry, I do have Rainbow Ruins. It's on the side. Now, to those of you who don't know about this wonderful field spell, it has 3 abilities, which I will explain from best to worst. It makes all Crystal Beasts on the board and in the graveyard dark. So, since it makes the Crystal Beasts dark, it makes this live. When an ultimate crystal monster attacks an opponent's monster, the target's effects are negated for the battle phase. So translation, if your Rainbow Dragon attacks Thunder Dragon Titan, and they'll pitch like Matrix to give it a 500 attack point boost, Thunder Dragon Titan's effect to blow up your dragon is negated. So it just goes to the graveyard. Really nice answer, actually. And then most importantly, and this is why I like to run it because of the tactical reasons, if a Crystal Beast you control battles and you take damage, you can essentially send one from your deck to the graveyard to reduce the damage to 0. And that foolish burial of a Crystal Beast to block damage is actually a really good effect. Get this a little bit closer for you guys. You know, something to consider as you play through this. I run 2 Rainbow Bridges. If I can ever find a 3rd one, I will get a 3rd one of this. Essentially, it lets you add a crystal spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and it's not OPT, unlike the next card. One thing about this deck that saddens me is that for a deck that by lore is made with actual crystals in the cards, the deck is dirt cheap until you get to Crystal Bond. This is the most expensive card in the entire deck, running you anywhere from $30 to $45 a copy. Glad I got this when it was only 20 bucks. Essentially, this is your OAT of the deck. OAT standing for 1 activation a turn. You take 2 Crystal Beasts with different names. One goes to your hand and the other is placed in your back row as a face-up continuous spell. Now, here's a funny little fact that I was told by the judge when I took this to dueling day, and any official judges that are going to hear this out, please give a confirm on this ability. Apparently when Super Thunder Dragon is on the board, you can't add the crystal from your deck to your hand, but you can add the crystal from your deck to the back row. So if anybody out there is an official judge and they can confirm that, let me know in the comment section below. Man, they really need to reprint this card. 2 Crystal Blessing. This is the one where you can take 2 Crystal Beasts in your graveyard and put them in your back row. Which, you know, the recursion is real with this deck. You really don't need too much draw power when it comes to the spells and the way this deck works, because you're going to be getting your Crystal Beasts from all over the place. 2 Crystal Beacon. This one I like as it's like the low rent Crystal Bond. If you have 2 Crystal Beasts in your back row, you can special summon one from your deck, which obviously you're going to be pulling out Red Ruby or Sapphire mainly. Speaking of Red Rubies, I got 2 Crystal Promises, which special summon a Crystal Beast from the back row. I like how it has the Ruby on there, because you know what you're going to be summoning a lot of. 1 Crystal Abundance. This is that health insurance for the deck. You need 4 Crystal Beasts in the back row to activate it. Then you send all cards on the field to the grave. Then you pull as many Crystal Beasts from your graveyard and put them in your back row. So, yeah. We all know about the Abundance OTK. Rare Value is the only spell of the Crystal Beast that you can't search with Bridge, and it's a shame that you can't. But essentially you need 2 Crystal Beasts for this, well, in your back row. Your opponent chooses 1 to send to the graveyard, then you draw 2 cards. 2 Called by the Grave, because Ash Blossom is something that you can bait out with a lot of cards in this deck. Monster Reborn, because it's Monster Reborn. 1 Melody of the Awakening Dragon. This is what you use to add the Rainbow Dragons from your deck to your hand. You're going to discard a card for the cost, of course, but this is how you get your Rainbow Dragons from your deck to your hand. Now this next card right here, again, let me know what you think of my sleeves in the comment section below. I've seen just about every deck on YouTube, Crystal Beast wise, since Legendary Duelist 2 came out. And no duelist in the OCG, ECG, or TCG run this card. And I found that this card is not only perhaps the best spell in the deck, but when I resolve this, 9 times out of 10, I'm winning the duel. And no one runs this, but it's a shame. And the card, of course, is Future Fusion. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would you run this? And when I do some pointers on the deck, I will explain. It also is part of my fusion engine with Dragon's Mirror. So, that'll be a fun little thing to talk about as I get through with the pointers. Trap game, of course. We have 1 Ultimate Crystal Magic. This essentially works like fusion for Rainbow Over Dragon, but one of your Crystal Beasts has to die in battle. Then you can send 7 Crystal Beasts from hand, deck, or your board to the grave to fusion summon Big Boy there. And it is treated as fusion summon. If a face-up Ultimate Crystal monster you control... Ooh, gotta get that in camera. Sorry about that. Face-up Ultimate Crystal monster you control would be destroyed by this because of an... leaves the field. Excuse me, not destroyed. Because of an opponent's card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard and place any number of Crystal Beast monsters from your graveyard face-up in your back row as continuous spells. So in a sense, it works like a mid-rent Crystal Counter. And I'll talk about Crystal Counter a little bit later. I run 1 Dragon's Rage. Oddly enough, it's nice to have a 4K body that can pierce. And lastly, for the traps, I run 2 Rainbow Gravity. Rainbow Rainbow Gravity is a nice little surprise because if you have your 7 Crystal Beasts in your graveyard with different names, you can take one of your Rainbow Dragons, regular or dark, and you can either revive it from your graveyard or special summon it from your deck, ignoring summoning conditions. Having a monster reborn for the boss monster is real nice. And that's the main deck, so let's roll into the extra deck time. First and foremost, I'm running 2 of the Rainbow Over Dragon. Like the original Rainbow Dragon, you need 7 Crystal Beasts to fuse it, but they don't have to have different names. It can reset the board as a quick effect like the original Rainbow Dragon, but Over Dragon's board reset can be used on the same turn it's summoned. Also, you can take a Crystal Beast monster in your graveyard to banish it, and you'll boost the attack of this dragon by the attack of the Crystal Beast for the turn. Really nice card to have. You gotta run 2 of these simply because it's easy to get out. One of the big issues that I found with Crystal Duelists is they don't know how to work their level 3s. I never had that problem, and number 17 Leviathan Dragon is one of my ways of using it. I really do love number 17 because the setup is just really sweet. It takes Ruby Carbuncle, which is normally the card that many Crystal Duelists don't want to draw, and Cat, and you have something to go into. Then you can just detach Ruby, sending it to the grave, and you now have a 2500 body on the board. I would play Baguska, the Terribly Tired Tapir, but when I was testing that out, that never seemed to work. However, number 82 Heartland Draco is a better fit in my opinion. First and foremost, if there's a spell on the... If you control a spell card, your opponent cannot attack this dragon. That's a beautiful thing. And since the Crystal Beasts count as face-up continuous spells, if you have one of them in your back row, Heartland Draco really can't be fought. It can still be hit with card effects, unfortunately. You can detach a material from Heartland Draco. It's the only monster that can attack this turn, but it can hit your opponent directly. So instead of stalling for 2 turns, I can actually hit my opponent for 2 racks in 2 turns while I'm waiting for another play. I want to thank Xylophone Plays for hipping me about number 101 Silent Honor Arc, and this is a really good card for your rank 4 plays. You can detach 2 materials and then suck up one of your opponent's monsters, adding it to this card, kind of like how Cyber Dragon Infinity does. And if this card would be destroyed by battle, you can detach an Xyz material to keep it around. So the Super Thunder Dragon that you sucked up from your Thunder Dragon Duelist has a use here, and they can't use it against you. Ice Beast Zero Fine is the skill drain for the board. You need 2 Winged Beasts to go into it. It's the better choice of overlaying Cobalt Eagles, in my opinion, than Lightning Chidori, because this shuts off your opponent's board until your next turn. Then it gets a 300 attack point boost for every face-up card on the board, yours and your opponent's. Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon saved my butt so much, stealing attack points of special summon monsters. Then we have 1 Underclock Taker because it's good for the boost up. 2 Firefighting Daruma Dolls. This is actually an easy link for Crystal Beasts. The only Crystal Beasts that can't link into this are Tortoise and Carbuncle. Let's see, you gain 100 attack for each beast, beast warrior, and winged beast on the board with this guy. You can blow up one of your back row and a back row card of your opponent's. And if this guy is essentially removed from the board, no, if it's destroyed by an opponent's monster by battle, you can target a banished beast, beast warrior, or winged beast monster, or one that's in your graveyard, and add it to your hand. So it's another form of recursion for the deck. 1 Triple Burst Dragon because of the negates, Saryuja to adjust the hand, and Borrel Guard Dragon, ironically enough, actually fits pretty well. You may use load or sword, but I do like Beauregard Dragon's unstoppable effect to switch an opponent's monster into defense position, and combined with Dragon's Rage, it's a nice little bit of pierce action. So let me show you a couple interesting things that I want to just play out, and we'll start with the big elephant in the room, Future Fusion. This is what happened one duel against a friend of mine. I activate Future Fusion. Response, he goes no. Then you pick up your deck and you do this. Then you special summon the Rainbow Dragon from your hand. Why wait 3 turns to get a boss monster out when you can do it in 1? That is just so beautiful. And if you don't have your Ultimate Crystal Rainbow Dragons in your hand, that's why you have Melody of the Awakening Dragon to search. Getting a Rainbow Dragon out turn 1 is really good. And if you know you're not facing a Cyber Dragon duelist, which this is something I forgot to mention about Rainbow Over Dragon, you can tribute one of these to pull out the Rainbow Over Dragon, because it's also a form of getting that bad boy out. And I like that play. Another interesting way of doing it is if you get your Melody out and your Dragon's Mirror, because you can take your Dragon's Mirror and then banish the 7 Crystal Beasts and pull out Over Dragon as well. So you can have this on the board, you can have one of these, and if you had Melody of the Awakening Dragon, you've got both of these out on the board. Use a Call by the Grave, essentially to stop an Ash Blossom that might hit you, and you have a Rainbow OTK, or Rainbow TK as I like to call it. Really fun way I got somebody in a duel one time. That was great, actually. Now, Crystal Pendulums, this was a really bad hand that I had, but essentially I set up my Crystal Pendulums, right? Then I activated Rainbow Bridge. I had Crystal Bond in my hand, but I played Rainbow Bridge just to bait out the Ash, which my opponent did bait out with the Ash. So I used Crystal Bond. Now, keep in mind, I only have 1 Crystal Beast in my hand when I'm activating this, and that Crystal Beast, unfortunately... Which Crystal Beast did I have in my hand? I had Amethyst Cat, right? So, with Cat, I essentially added Ruby to my hand, and then put Sapphire in the back row. And then, after that, you Pendulum Summon. Essentially, you Pendulum Summon these 2. Wait, I had 1 more Crystal Beast too. I had Tiger in my hand too. So, you have Tiger in your hand, you get this, and then it's essentially... You special summon this, you special summon your Tiger, which I had. Where the hell is my Topaz Tiger? Yeah, special summon Topaz Tiger. Then go into this. Now, what this does is, because you have your Crystal Pendulums on deck, you special summon Sapphire Pegasus. Pegasus kicks in. You put a crystal in your back row. Now, if you have both Ruby and Sapphire in your hand, when you Pendulum Summon, you can get these guys all out. You'll be able to freely go into this because, again, Crystal Master protects your Crystal Beasts from card effects, so they can't Ash Blossom you. You can Chain Link to Pegasus and get another crystal on deck, which could be your second Pegasus if you want, or another Crystal Beast. And then you Carbuncle into Chain Link 1. Now you've got 4 crystals on the deck. So, with that, you can do a couple of things. You can either go into your Link 4 play, or one of the things I like to do is, I'll take my Cat and Carbuncle, overlay them into Leviathan Dragon, detach Leviathan, or detached ruby from Leviathan Dragon, so now I have a 2500 body, and I've got these guys on the board. And I can either overlay them into number 82 Heartland Draco, which is one of the good things you can do as well, because again, crystal pendulums count as spells, and you have 2 bodies on the board if you don't want to go into your Link 4. It's a really fun little bit of strat that I like to do. But in any case, that's it for my Crystal Beast deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you found some strats that you never really thought of, consider giving me a like. More decks are on the way, so be sure to subscribe and turn on those mobile notes, so when it's time to count the cards, you'll be ready to go alongside myself. And I appreciate you being here every step of the way. Raise your thumbs if you enjoyed this one. Now let me take my cards to the box, because I'm done. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.